Finally, we get the Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi adventure we've always wanted. One that has 0 Gungans. On this week's Cannonballs podcast, we are discussing Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray and Bachelorette parties on Kashyyyk. I'm joined, as always, by my 3 friends, Aaron Laramie, Daryl Byron, and Wesley. This is an outrage, Isaac.
You'd think that after 4 weeks I'd be used to it now, but
I think I'm going to keep choosing characters with kind of taboo accents, we'll say.
You don't want to offend anybody.
I like they all sound the same, though. It's like you just have one generic accent for someone that's not white. That's great. I'm glad that that's where we're at.
Maybe I'll do some Sebulba at some point. What if I just did it all in Hut? Like, I do the whole Jabba quote in future weeks. That could be fun.
Yeah, if anybody's going to learn it, it would be you. So
before we get into any of this, I've got something I want to run by you guys, because I just want to know if I'm the only one who thinks this.
I'm interested.
So we're at an age, our friends are getting married, some are having kids. I keep seeing like pictures of kids and being shown pictures of like babies and stuff. And I keep hearing, oh, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful child. All babies are average or ugly looking, right?
How old are we talking?
They
here?
either all look the same, like less than 1. I don't know how old babies are. I'm not a
less than 1.
Less than
One is a big.
Yeah,
that's a broad
there's some
range,
cute
though.
babies, dude. Some babies, their teeth just fall perfectly into place, and they have that little tuft of hair.
Do babies?
They don't look mean.
no,
So,
babies.
yeah, some do.
Babies have teeth.
Some babies are born with teeth.
How many teeth does your average 1-year-old have?
0.
I'm gonna go with 6.
What's
4.
the bets? You guys want to do bets?
10. No, it's probably like 1. And maybe get an A tooth.
We should hire Tudor as a producer so he could look this up for us.
Yeah, we do need somebody to look this up. So
Yeah.
Somebody just on the Google.
Lieutenant Bastian, tell us how many teeth babies have.
Yeah.
In the
I'm
comments.
just saying that guy listened to the first one, was like, this is moderately interesting, and then never wanted anything to do with this shit again.
Oh, we'll talk about him later. Don't you worry.
You'll never find it again, Wes. It was a one-time thing. The algorithm worked just right for us.
Yeah, I think that it was just something that's like 5 a.m. and he can't go to sleep, and he's like,
He accidentally mistypes cannonballs. He was looking at pirate videos and
Yeah,
stuff
he was-
on our
That's
podcast.
really changed their time.
that could be it. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
we live for that 2 a.m. mistake.
All right,
I think
so it's just me who thinks there are no good-looking babies, just average babies and ugly ones.
I think the 0, like the being born to a 1-year-old baby is a pretty big difference. Like, I think the fresh out the womb baby is not all of those babies are necessarily the cutest. But dude, like
Heads all
6
squished in weird
6
shapes.
months old, like 9 months old, they start getting like tiny shoes and like little shirts and stuff. Like,
Yeah, they
The tiny shoes are what get me.
it's
they
definitely
The Timberland
For me,
boots
it's
the little
like a-
babies have.
the Timberlands, the baby Tims. Yeah.
For me, it's like a statistical thing. They can't all be adorable and
People
beautiful
lie.
because that implies an outlier, you know?
Well, people lie. So
People
the real
lie.
issue is people that look at my baby, and either you're gonna be like, that's a fucking ugly baby, or you're gonna be like, oh yeah, she's beautiful, and the baby's like, wow, that's a lot of bottom teeth for a baby.
Yeah, I guess you can't go around saying, yeah, my baby's all right looking.
Yeah, I mean, who's gonna be like, yeah, do you want to see a picture of my baby? I gotta warn you, though, ugly as fuck.
I think the line is, oh, he looks just like you.
Oh, yeah, must take after his mother. You get in a lot of trouble. Everybody's like, yeah, no, that's a cute. Wow, that baby's cute.
He looks just like mommy.
Yeah, wow. Must have inherited his mother's teeth, and the baby's like, oh shit, that's some fucked up shit.
What's the line that Will Ferrell says in The Office? He's like that baby could be a star of a show called Babies I Don't Care About or whatever. That shit is too funny. I'm pro baby, but I definitely get why like they're not for everybody. For
I
sure.
have a question about what pro baby is. Like, is that like pro choice? I'm very confused. You're pro baby, so like.
That means that I'm unlike Brian, where I'm more sort of just pro baby in general. I feel like
He thinks there are better looking babies than others.
Brian, as a con baby, man,
Yeah, anti-baby.
what would be your rebuttal to this pro baby statement?
I just laid out I think we're like 10 minutes in. I haven't said anything about Star Wars. I've just been talking about babies, and now I have to justify this even more.
This isn't a podcast about ugly babies.
Yeah, baby balls.
Baby, oh god! All right, you're issuing next week's apology here.
That's probably way too far already.
I can't do it this week.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
No,
edit
you
it.
you can't
Okay.
say that.
We'll have Tudor edited in.
Yeah.
This will never post.
Yeah, this
Tutor
one-
in charge.
Are
Love
we
you if you're
streaming this
listening,
on-
Tutor?
Let's say we're streaming this on Twitch, so
Rad.
Once it's up, it's gone.
Yeah, we're live here.
You guys want to talk about Master and Apprentice?
I guess.
Yes.
you don't have
okay.
any more baby conversation topics.
I guess we can talk
If you
about
think of
what
any,
we
feel
can
free to
talk
interrupt.
Okay, I'll interject at a time I feel inappropriate.
Yeah. So this is happening obviously after the Dooku book. Dooku's left the Jedi Order. Still before Phantom Menace. So that's fun. Like 30, 40 years before. Obi-Wan's like 16, I believe, in this book. So that could give you a rough idea of how close we are to Phantom Menace.
How old is he in the trilogies? What'd you say?
He's
Like in
45,
Phantom
50.
Menace, I can't see him being over like 25. It'd surprise me if he
25.
was older than 25 in Phantom Menace.
Okay. I always thought of him as like middle 30s.
In Phantom Menace, when he has his
Oh no,
battle
not
blade?
in Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
Okay. Yes, I agree with that statement.
yeah.
How
So
old
this-
is
problem
he
is-
dies? Oh, sorry, spoilers.
we haven't fucking gotten there, Wes.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
someone
down.
listening right
Yeah.
now who has never even seen Star Wars, and you're like, well, I know that guy dies. I'm not going to listen to this podcast anymore.
Yeah,
That's on
Once they
me.
were trying to hear the canon in order, and he just fucked it up for
I
me.
know. You know what? Might as well just shut the whole thing down. Good night, everybody.
All right, guys, this has been Cannonballs.
they can skip the next like dozen episodes till we get to Phantom Menace.
So the world we live in has very few conflicts, lots of peace and prosperity, right? There's a few conflicts out there, but the Jedi just wrap it up. There's a little conflict on the planet Teth, and Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan are sent there. So we open up our story with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon going through Wanbo the Hutt's palace.
Wambo.
Is he related to Jabba? Yeah, is he a Jabba adjacent character?
Yeah, there are actually a lot of Hutts. You see some of
Did not
them
know that.
in the Clone
Top-
Wars animated
top 5
series.
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut is the top
That's good. I like Hut's tomato sauce. It's like
That's a good one too.
That's
That's a tough one.
Oh my God.
No other Hutts.
Not many huts.
that's it for me. So
Yeah. So they split up, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. They're sneaking around Wanbo the Hutt's palace. Qui-Gon takes Wanbo hostage. Obi-Wan gets caught while he's sneaking around by the major domo of the palace. I only bring up that it was called a major domo because we've read 3 things, and major domo has been in 2 of them. There was a major domo in our book about Strono Tugs.
Are we
Yeah,
gonna get
no.
a major domo backstory?
No, actually, I thought he was going to be a major character, so I wrote a lot about this.
It's in the name Major Domo. He thought he was going to be a major character.
Might as well call him minor domo.
Be a minor Domo. Yeah.
Not like a little kid though. I know we already had a weird little kid conversation. It's just minor, not like
Yeah.
like kid.
So the major
Amio
domo's
Domo.
name is Thurible.
That's
Thurible's
horrible.
Yep, Thurible. It's a terrible name. He's the real brains of the operation, not Wanbo. I guess Wambo's a big dummy. He's the dumbest of the Hutts, but he's
You
got a
Wambo.
smart major domo.
That was actually good. You know what? Did he have it set to W for Wambo?
Wambo,
The
me,
SpongeBalls.
Oh no, not
The
again.
podcast within the podcast.
Yeah. Good old SpongeBall's making his appearance.
Yeah. So they have to Qui-Gon bargains Wanbo for Obi, and the Hutts kind of get away with whatever they were doing. So they kind of fail their mission.
Brian, is the Hut like so that's probably I'm assuming it's like a surname, right? Like the Hut, I feel like is always
it's like a crime family.
Oh, okay.
I think they're
Are they all
they're all
big,
the
like,
same like
slugs?
species. They're all the same
Oh, okay.
slugs.
Yeah,
I
weird.
think they're all related.
Okay.
There's Zero the Hut in the Clone Wars. There's
Yeah,
another
that's true.
Hut. Yeah.
Interesting. That's a
Jabba,
weird,
obviously.
like, yeah, another Hut, some Jabba guy.
I feel like
know.
you guys are actually going to watch Clone Wars when we get there. Wait till you hear Zero's voice. It'll be fun. So yeah, we leave Teth. We get a little scene with two rock thieves. They are named Pax, who was raised by protocol droids, so a bunch of C-3POs, and Rahara, who used to be a slave to a corporation we're going to learn about in the future.
Can you explain to me what a rock thief is?
Yeah.
I did not read it as rock initially, and I was a little bit confused. I had to reread the sentence.
Is it like crack rock?
It could be. So it's the legality of it is gray. They go to planets where rocks are super common, and then sell them on planets where they're not very common. But I guess.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, but I guess some planets don't like you taking their rocks.
It's good to me. I mean, that's just like supply and demand. That's economics 101.
Yeah.
I'm honestly impressed that there is such a demand for rocks. I think there'd be more like abundance for like air or water, things like that. But
right.
No, just pick a resource
Rocks,
that doesn't seem like anybody wants it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a spider trader. Like, we got a lot of spiders out here and they're gross. I bring them over here. Joe Pesci shoots them by mistake.
Everything has a buyer.
You like that one? There's a spider. You remember?
Yeah.
You remember Goodfellas? Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah,
Never
yeah.
seen
That's
Big spider dance.
Yeah, he shoots him in the foot. Oof.
Yeah, and then they kill him because he tells Joe Pesci to go fuck himself. You can't do that. Like,
You cannot tell Joe Pesci
Yeah.
to fuck himself.
come on, man. That's how it goes. Poor spider. Anyway, so they steal rocks and
So they're stealing rocks. They talk about a scheme they have to start stealing kyber crystals. If you guys remember from Rogue One, they're the little crystal that goes inside lightsabers. And yeah. So we cut to our planet where most of this takes place, Pajal.
Like a crystal or like black market kind of thing. Like, are they getting those because you can sell them to people who like aren't traditionally supposed to have lightsabers? Like, is that why? So they can make like sketchy black market lightsabers? Is that the
They know the buyer is going to be tough. Because most sources of kyber are pretty well guarded, according to them. So they can be like, hey, we just happened upon this kyber crystal. How about a little monetary reward? Or if that doesn't work, sell it to some pirates or something.
Plastic pirates.
Yeah.
Would you buy a lightsaber from the black market?
Yeah, black
I think
market.
so.
Would you trust the quality?
Well, you got to remember, I'm force sensitive according to our own canon in our podcasts. So I may already have the lightsaber, but
Horrible Christ.
Oh man, Force Scared 2012.
Oh, shit.
That's the last thing we need is Brian as a Jedi. That'd be a fucking nightmare.
You're telling me.
Or Brian believing that he's a Jedi.
The podcast just twists Brian's mind into belief. Quits his job. I'd be like, Brian, what are you doing?
Becoming a Jedi.
Out of the streets, he's stopping crime. I'd be like, Brian, no.
Obsessed with trying to steal a kyber crystal.
He's like, the Jedi Council won't recognize my power. I'm like, it's not real. Calm down.
It's an insult. They granted me the rank of master. Or granted me the rank of council.
Next time we see him, he's all on a hood. His face is all wrinkled.
Darth Brian.
I get it, Brian. It's a lot of power. I understand.
It's tricky.
Lots of responsibility with that. So we go to Pajal, where they think they're going to find those crystals. There's a big, giant corporation called Zerka. It's CZ, so I read the whole book as Churka, like Czech Republic, but
Yeah.
then I listened to a little bit of the audiobook, and they said Zerka. So I'll try to say Zerka, but I may say Churka. They're the same.
Durka.
Yeah, potato.
Yeah. So
Circa
there's
1990.
it's a big corporation, galactic corporation called Zerka. There's a terrorist group called the Opposition who blew up a Churka warehouse. So you already did it, Zerka.
I was like, are you just fucking with it?
No.
Are they stealing rocks too?
See, they're a corporation, so they don't steal; they mine.
Oh man, it's the same thing. They're
Terrorist
exploiting that poor planet for their rocks.
I think it's nice enough that the terrorist organization named themselves the Opposition to make things easy. Like they're not.
Right, let's call them the Opposition.
Yeah,
We're the bad guys. The Opposition. I like it.
So we meet the princess, Princess Fanry. She is too young to rule, so the council sent over Count Dooku's first apprentice, Rael Alvaros.
otherwise known as the Earl of Lemongrab, right?
Yes.
Too young to rule the kingdom. Is the same guy?
Yeah, he's not like it's the same situation as Earl of Lemongrab.
Yeah.
Too young.
Frank for last. Okay, cool.
Rael likes pranks though, so
He likes pranks. Does he sentence anybody to the dungeon? A million years dungeon.
He
No
wants.
He does, doesn't he? I bet you he wants to put people in the dungeon.
We'll get there, Wes.
Oh, yeah.
Shadowing.
So Rael was Count Dooku's first apprentice. We didn't really hear much from him in the book I read. But one distinguishing characteristic about Rael Alvaros is he is not celibate. He wants to fuck this bartender he's hanging out with when we first meet him. Not much happens in that scene besides, hey, this is Rael. He's a scruffy guy who's a Jedi who wants to fuck a bartender.
Nice for him.
Does he get to fuck it?
No, that's hey them. It was close.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could have been an alien. I don't know what species.
Daryl's
anything is.
woke. It's a 2020, and he knows his pronouns.
Daryl will not be issuing an apology.
no, I'm clean this week.
Oh man, yikes!
So that was just kind of a little passage about. See, I'm using passage now instead of scene because I'm a reader.
Wow.
Yeah. We're back to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan back in Coruscant. We hear about Qui-Gon's doubts that him and Obi-Wan are a good fit together. He gets offered a position on the council, which would solve the him and Obi-Wan problem because they might not be a good fit. So if he's on the council, he'd have to get rid of his Padawan and he'd have to get a new master. Now, Obi-Wan's a little frustrated by Qui-Gon's obsession with Jedi mystics and prophecies. His friends get to learn to warg into animals and astronomy, and he gets to learn how to read old Alderaanian.
Yeah, not quite the same.
Yep. And he's studying all this, and he's like, so do you believe in these prophecies? And Qui-Gon's like, no, but it kind of teaches us about history. And Obi-Wan's like, why don't we just fucking learn about history then? So we get a few flashbacks of Qui-Gon with Dooku. And Dooku is like, hey, careful with these prophecies, because knowing the future could lead to the dark side.
That is true. All the cool powers are like dark side related,
Yeah.
I feel like. Seriously. Like
live forever, dark side.
yeah.
Yeah.
How come no one wants to like have and embrace these prophecies and trust them? I feel like in the last one with Sifo Dyas, he had the prophecies, dude. Everyone just disregards it.
So we'll get there eventually, but I don't know if I'll actually touch on it in my notes. Yoda kind of talks about this. So having the visions and stuff coming to you on its own isn't dark necessarily. It's now wanting to control the future with that vision, which is dark side.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
yeah, it's manipulating people.
So, like, it's a gateway force. It's a gateway to the dark side.
Yeah, it's gateway power. Yeah.
Force.
So the current Chancellor calls in Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and gives them their mission. Go see your buddy Rael, who you know, because he was your master's old master. And you got to stop the opposition. They're a performance art troupe that started doing terrorist acts.
Smart. That's how you get in. You're like, do you want to perform in your cathedral? Just bombs, and they're like, oh, performance went bad. Like, no, dude, you bombed us. What is this?
But it was art.
They're like, yeah, but we tried something different.
Like the pie was a bomb.
You got us.
No, these are bombs made in a bomb factory.
Yeah.
$25, please.
So
$25 on a pie bomb? Because I think I might.
just to have it as like a collection, like a collector's item.
I don't
How much
think
does gunpowder cost?
I don't know.
maybe you're getting some decent returns on that pie.
I mean, in today's
Sell it on a
world,
planet
man,
without
gunpowder's
price.
probably skyrocketed.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. If you go to a planet that's pretty much made up of pie bombs and you take some of them and bring them to a different planet, supply and demand. We're no better than those damn rock traders.
Rock thieves.
Oh, let me correct myself. Rock thieves.
So the reason the Chancellor and the Republic's interested in this is they are building a hyperspace corridor right next to Pajal, like through the system, kind of for Churka Corporation and other trade. And they're like, hey, we need to see this through because it's going to help out some of those planets on the Outer Rim.
The Outer Rim.
Always about the rim.
Like
Nobody, just leave the outer rim alone. It's bad.
Yeah, the outer rim of what?
The galaxy?
Just leave the outer rim where it is. It's bad. It's far away. Just we're not over here like let's make sure Neptune's doing okay. We're like, we should focus on Earth.
The rim.
And now Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's relationship is like a Judd Apatow rom-com at this point because Qui-Gon hasn't told Obi-Wan about being offered the position on the council yet. He's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to take it, so I tell him. And then the Chancellor's just like, oh, by the way, congrats on getting offered a member on the council.
And Obi-Wan just looks over and the music starts playing.
The record
Duel of
crashes.
Fates, dun, 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 dun.
Qui-Gon does it, and it's just a bunch of just cut scenes of Obi-Wan just like in the rain kicking rocks, being all lonely. And Qui-Gon looks out the window and sees him, and he's like, can't leave my friend like that. And then he goes, yeah, sorry, Mr. Chancellor. I have to resign. My buddy's out there in the rain. This would be a great movie. What's I'm working on right now?
Honestly, I'd like to see this as a movie. The book's really good. We're going to make fun of it a lot, but I enjoyed it. So Yoda calls in Qui-Gon right before they leave, and he's like, hey, you should talk to Rael, see if he's spoken to Dooku, because we don't know why he left the order. He just left. So they're flying to Pajal. It's awkward between him and Obi, of course. In my notes, I wrote Qui and Obi a lot, so that's their names now.
I like it.
Right as they're approaching the planet, they witness a terrorist attack. There's this old spaceship that floats up from the planet as a spiritual experience. Like some old religion they had where they're closer to the Force. This book uses Force in the place of God quite a bit. They're like, oh my Force. Stuff
Really?
But yeah, they float up for some zero-G spiritual experience.
Oh my Force.
That's genius writing.
Force,
Yeah.
Force,
Yeah,
damn it, you
Force,
guys.
damn it. Science, damn it.
So yeah,
okay. All right, cool.
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon attempt to save the people on board, but there's another explosion. Our rock thieves, Pax and Rahara, show up in their ship and shoot some anti-plasma cannons at it. Just shoot some anti-explosion explosions at it, and you're good.
That's smart. Yeah, double explosions, like double negative. They're using a lot of math.
Yep.
Are they like math majors?
Yeah.
Because they're using economics, double negatives.
Yeah.
I
Business
like it.
ethics.
Hey, there's no room for math when you worship Force.
Yeah.
That's true.
Force, damn it.
Are you science?
Burn in dark side science.
Son of a Force.
So Rahara wants to save these people because she scans the ship, and there are 13 people and 37 sentient owned property. That's right, slaves.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Sentience owns property.
I thought it was
Yes.
houses that those people owned, and they had so many houses that maybe they'd give one to them. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I was like, yeah, save them for all their housing.
Sentimental.
So yeah, the rock thieves fly off before Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon can thank them. They fly down to the planet. They meet Rael Alvaros, and they're buddies. Qui-Gon's like, "Hey, what's up?" He's kind of super charismatic, like Lando. He's like, "Get over here, you old space pirate."
Yeah.
Spanks his ass. He finds out very quickly. He's like, "Hey, have you heard from Dooku?" Nope. Qui-Gon has this line that says, "Oh, performance arts terrorists. Now we've seen everything." Rail response says, "Don't say that until you've seen a bachelorette party on Kashyyyk." So I'd like to know, boys, what do you think is going on a bachelorette party on Kashyyyk, the home planet of the Wookiees?
Oh no! Do you think it's like the Wookiees bachelorette party, or do like people travel there? Like, is the party so good? Like, that's like the spot to be. Those are my two thoughts.
Well, I kind of picture the Wookiees like lumberjacks, so I kind of think of them like throwing trees around.
It's all in flannel.
Yeah, all in flannel.
Let me tell you.
Oh,
sure they are. I bet it's hairy.
How hairy do you think a Wookiee dick is?
It's probably actually clean shaven. It's probably
do you
the
think
opposite.
it's like a dog dick?
Where it hides it in itself?
Is it like a red Wookiee rocket?
Well, that's it for me. You guys have a lovely night. Why?
Well, it depends what the outer coat is. To be honest with you,
outer coat.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Call it the winter coat.
So we can agree that what's implied here is if people are coming from off planet to Kashyyyk for a Wookiee bachelorette party.
Weekly Wookiee bachelor party.
Wookiee bachelorette.
Is that Dr. Seuss?
Are they fucking Wookiees? Is that what's going on? I'm fine with you fucking anybody, but is the point of the bachelorette party to go fuck Wookiees?
I think so. I think as a bachelorette, you'd like a Wookiee.
Yeah, like you got to try at least once.
Yep.
I don't think it's just women either. I'm sure a lot of different crazy races would have some,
Yep.
They would probably
I'd go to the what is it? The Twi'lek? What is the blue ladies with the
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Jump to that pretty quick, Brian.
I'll tell you, you're not going to the huts though.
Oh, yeah.
You're staying far away from the huts.
The huts? You're not going to the huts?
Yeah, you don't like slugging people?
What about them?
What about slug people is unappealing to you?
I think that's my least favorite alien choice.
Slug people, interesting.
Yep.
Okay. So Rael kind of brings up that they both studied some prophecies and jokes with him about him getting the offer for the council, and quotes a prophecy that says, "One will ascend to the highest of the Jedi despite the foreboding of those who would serve with him." Qui-Gon's not a super popular character among the Jedi. Doesn't always follow procedure.
I definitely feel like Qui-Gon is considered, because of Star Wars, because of the framing of the prequels kind of around him to a certain degree, he is considered a popular character, but it's funny to find out that as he existed in the universe, obviously.
I think he's the hipster's favorite Jedi. I really like him in this book. He's
Yeah.
On a serious note, I feel like it's hard to write a Jedi because in the movies you just only see their outward projection of calm and confidence, and in books obviously you have inner monologue, and he's got a lot of doubts within himself, but he still projects his calm demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like a Jedi is supposed to.
Exactly. Aaron. So Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan meet Princess Fanry and her council. They say, "Hey, it'd be sweet if you wrapped up this whole opposition thing before the Grand Hunt," which is a ceremonial thing right before they hand over the crown to Fanry.
66.
So they head to the moon of the planet, which is where most of the opposition stuff happens.
Smart, hang out on the moon.
And they want to track down the people who helped them with that first terrorist attack, Pax and Rahara, and see if they could help. We get a good look at Rahara's left hand, which has a scar on it, because Zerka Corporation leaves these little implants for all the slaves, so they could track them down. Rahara just cut it out herself one time when she had a chance to escape.
Badass.
Yeah.
Should have cut the whole hand off. That would
And they never would have found her.
Yeah, the hand. And I would have thrown it somewhere, like in a dumpster, so they track her. They expect all this money.
They're like,
down, and
she's in the dumpster.
Yep.
Yeah, and you
They're
open
just
the
following
dumpster.
the garbage truck around all
Yeah, and
day
she's
trying to figure
like,
out where she
cat
is.
food. And they're like, oh, that's gross. Yeah, that's just a hand.
So they convinced these rock thieves to help them look for terrorists. I don't remember what the exact exchange was. Wasn't super important. Some rocks, probably.
Some rocks were exchanged.
I have Republic credits. They're like, your credits are no good. We only accept rocks. And he's like, I can get you some rocks? Like, 8 rocks will do. And they're like, yeah, I'll give you like 12, dude. Just, what the fuck? It's rocks.
Oh, importantly, the Kyber crystal they were looking for is just like Kyber crystal, only like it's not. It's like fool's gold.
Ooh.
Yeah. They call it
man.
Kohler crystal.
You put it in your lightsaber, nothing happens, and you're like, oh, I've been duped.
Fuller crystal.
Exactly. So they go back. They say, hey, let's go look for terrorists tomorrow. So they go back to the palace. Qui-Gon wakes up because he has a dream of Princess Fanry getting killed. And he goes to his buddy Rael Alvaros to be like, hey, I had a bad dream. And Rael's got that bartender in his bed.
Oh!
Yeah.
Well, that answers my question.
Yeah.
There you go, buddy.
They have a little debate about celibacy, and Rael's like, I'm not allowed to fall in love. I'm just fucking this broad. You fell in love with that bitch on Felucia.
Damn.
We don't find anything out about the girl on Felucia, but it's assumed she's probably a Twi'lek. Because, Wes, you remember playing Battlefront 2, Galactic Conquest?
Who doesn't?
Felucia was that weird, like, jungly planet where
flowers.
Ayla Secura was the hero. Yeah.
Yep, that's that one.
I should probably look this up since we're calling ourselves a Star Wars podcast, but I'm just going to assume that's the Twilight home planet.
Yeah, just assume you're
Yeah,
right.
you know everything.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Deny. Yeah.
So while they're having this debate about celibacy and whether prophecies are real or not, they hear Fanry scream, and they find this weird dart in the window, a slicer dart. And we get a little flashback of this time that Rael had to kill his own Padawan because she got hit in the head with a slicer dart, which gives you temporary mind control and makes you attack your partners. So anyway, they left a message to Rael because very few people knew about Rael having to kill his own Padawan. So he's kind of scarred by this, and so he's taken a liking to Fanry and doesn't want to have to murder her with a lightsaber.
He doesn't want to have
not
to.
kill her.
But he will. He will do it
He
again.
doesn't have to.
Yeah, he doesn't have to.
You better watch yourself. That's all he's saying.
So the next day we get more of some the lead up to the crowning of her. Some people are like singing over a waterfall to her. And there's a peaceful protest, just some balloons that says, hey, fuck Circa and this treaty.
The balloons say?
Yeah. There's some balloons that say
Where do you get balloons like that?
Go like parties.
They
Be like,
sing,
hey, can you
they're
put something?
singing
I got a message I need you to write on the balloons here for me.
Yeah. So we get that peaceful protest. Nothing really happens with that. We get a flashback to young Qui-Gon and Rael. And they're talking about prophecies again, and we get the actual famous prophecy. I'm going to read the whole thing.
Famous?
The famous one. You'll know when we hear it. Only through sacrifice of many Jedi will the Order cleanse the sin done to the nameless. The danger of the past is not the past, but sleeps in an egg. When the egg cracks, it will threaten the galaxy entire. Did I just reverse that? Oh well. When the Force itself sickens, past and future must split and combine. A chosen one shall come, born of no father, and through him will ultimate balance in the Force be restored.
Also, he's like the son of Force.
You guys all said something. Wes.
Son of Force, like son of God.
Yep, the son of God.
That's definitely Jesus.
Yep. Daryl, also Jesus?
Yeah. Pretty Jesus.
Everybody answers, Jesus, show me Jesus. Look at me, I've done nothing with my career, and I'm like, Jesus. Hayden Christensen.
Yep.
Okay.
Hayden Christensen might be Jesus.
Oh, maybe that's why they picked him.
Yeah.
I get it now.
While Qui-Gon and Rael discuss the peaceful protest, Obi-Wan's talking to Fanry about lightsabers, how they work. He takes it apart and puts it together, talks about kyber crystals. And Fanry's like, what if, two Jedi fight one another to the death and smash lightsabers? Whose is stronger? And he's like, that doesn't make any sense. That never happens and never will. Because it has been so long since lightsaber has hit lightsaber.
Smart.
That's the world they're living in, because there's no Sith right now. The Sith haven't returned. He's like, that question doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Never going to happen.
Let's see. So we finally get to the Grand Hunt. We still haven't stopped the opposition, but they're like, whatever, the hunt must go on. So they all ride these beasts. So Fanry, her security guard, whose name is Darren. His name is Daryl Bryan.
I just like that they all have crazy names, and it's like, and then her security guard Pete. Aren't they on an alien planet? Like, yeah, no, that's Chubity Doop, Scoop Rop the Do, and Pete. They're all brothers, and I'm like, wow, they got real lazy at the end of that. Must have been the favorite,
The last one is Steve the Hutt. They're like, come on.
Steve he wears like a little suit and tie.
He's not even like the slug thing. He's just a human.
He's just a dude. He's like, yeah, I'm a tax attorney.
He's adopted.
Steve the Hutt. Oh, that's perfect. I like to imagine that he wears a slug costume around his family, like a poorly made fabric slug costume, and they're all hanging out, and he's like, "Yeah, with the family,
here, no complaints."
All right.
God.
So we're at the Grand Hunt. Everyone's supposed to ride after this droid, and the princess is supposed to kill it because the old kings and queens were warriors. So it's ceremonial, but they chase it down, and someone is fucked with the droid, and it starts shooting and nearly injures the princess.
What was that phrasing again?
I'm not sure what was the phrasing.
I think you said fucked with the droid.
Yeah. Someone fucked with the droid.
I know who fucked the droid.
Just like those bachelorette parties.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So they obviously
you have two choices with bachelorette parties. You have droid or Wookiee. You have to pick.
Oh, that's interesting.
Those are the top ones right now. It's like Austin and Nashville, but it's Kashyyyk and wherever the fuck they make droids.
Those are two completely opposite sides of the spectrum.
You like either furry or just cold hard metal.
Exactly. Soft and furry or cold.
It's programmed correct though.
Yeah.
Unless somebody fuck with it. Wink, wink.
So they find some security footage, and someone garbed in all black was the one screwing with the droid.
Goddamn garb.
Yep. So they go back to the moon, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, to meet up with their rock thieves.
Sure.
Turn on the scanners to look up for some life forms. They drop down and get attacked by a bunch of soldiers in all black.
Coordinated.
They seem to have anti-lightsaber shields, and their lightsabers bounce right off of them.
Wow.
Seriously, coordinated.
Yeah. So they're in trouble, and they nearly get killed. But another party joins the fight and makes the Black Guard, that's their name now, to retreat.
Okay.
And
they were the opposition, right?
No, the opposition was the one who shot at the Black Guard.
They're
Oh,
the
shit.
bad guys, bro.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Shit, everybody's bad guys except none of them are. Wow, what a twist!
It's twist.
So we meet their leader, Halen Azuka, who basically says, hey, they're being framed for all the violent attacks. They did the balloons.
Yeah, we're the balloon people.
They're like, hey, we're just a bunch of artists. Like, we're not mercenaries. We don't have anti-lightsaber shields. Paul's a painter.
Yeah.
So yeah, they talk to Halen Azuka, and Qui-Gon's always willing to hear everyone's side of the story. He's very mindful like that. And he's like, all right, let's hear what you terrorists have to say. And they're like, oh, well, they don't want any democratic representation for the moon because they hate those Moonies. It's 25% of the population.
Yo, fuck the Moonies.
Yep.
Qui-Gon.
And you can become a slave to Zerka if you do even a minor crime.
Mm.
And Qui-Gon's like, I don't think this is worth a hyperspace corridor.
I like how Qui-Gon's like, we do negotiate with terrorists. What do you guys have to say?
He's like, huh? So you put up mean-spirited balloons? Tell me.
Yeah, we got to hear what these guys are looking for.
Yeah, Qui-Gon absolutely negotiates with terrorists.
And they're like, fuck the Moonies, and we love slaves.
Qui-Gon's like,
Yeah, this maybe not.
I'll think about it.
So Qui-Gon goes back to the planet, confronts Rael, and he's like, oh, you're going to believe a terrorist? And he's like, and even if all that were true, which it is, he's like, well, this is the way of life. We've always ruled the moon people. And there's way more benefits to working with Zerka and the hyperspace corridor than there are consequences. Qui-Gon contacts the Jedi Council, and they're like, yeah, honestly, you're going to help more people if you build this corridor, so fuck Pajal. Mm. Qui-Gon's like, well, fuck you. And Yoda's like, I know you didn't mean that. I'll go talk to the Chancellor.
Looks like you're a nice boy.
I was like, all right.
We'll see what we can do. Yoda, by the way, didn't want Qui-Gon as part of the council. He was one of the members who voted against him.
That's
yeah. Yoda honestly hasn't looked great in these two books.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. I mean, how it all turns out.
He seems very stubborn and rigid in the bylaws, if they exist, of the Jedi Council.
I don't know. If he's against everything that's happened so far and it all goes to shit, then maybe he was right.
Yeah. He just, in the moment, it doesn't look great.
Sure.
Yeah. He's one of those guys like 5 years down the road that's like, hey, guys, told you so.
Seems like every Jedi's out here just breaking rules.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jedi rule breakers. Like, the movies make you think Anakin's the only one getting some on the side.
Well, the rules are kind of bullshit, I think, is a big part of it.
Well,
like
the whole thing is like, Mace Windu's like, we'll just kill him now. And Anakin's like, but you don't let me do what I want. You should bring the Chancellor in for a trial. And Mace Windu's like,
we don't negotiate with terrorists.
He's like, no, we do what I want. Anakin's like, well, that's not fair. I want him to do stuff too. Out this window.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Getting too far ahead, Wes.
It's a pretty big spoiler too. It's like the climax of the movie.
Nah, who knows? Nobody even knows who Mace Windu is yet. It's okay.
So Qui-Gon has another dream about Fanry being attacked at the crowning ceremony. And he goes to see where it's going to take place, the Celestial Chalice. Also one of their weird let's go to space for spiritual reason rooms. And it's a place he's never been, and it is exactly the way it appears in his dream. So he's like, oh shit, I've got visions now. I can see the future.
The dark side.
So because of this vision, Qui-Gon says, hey, I'm not going to be part of the ceremony. And because you need a representative from the Republic to witness the treaty being signed, it's not going to be valid, so fuck all y'all. I'm not signing this. So after that happens, Obi-Wan's like, dude, what the fuck? When do you believe in visions and prophecies? And Obi-Wan's like, or not Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon says, well, since I saw that room.
Hey.
Okay.
So Obi-Wan goes behind his back and talks to the council. They're like, we'll think about what we want you to do. But that Qui-Gon's kind of a dick, huh?
He kind of is an asshole because he's like, yeah, I don't believe in this bullshit. Like, I don't believe in visions. And then he has one that's true. And he's like, guys, I totally believe in this. You have to take this seriously. Now, like, calm down.
Well, he believed in them when he was super young. Then he was just like, they're more stories. So they're all bullshit, but they're good to learn from. And now he's like, oh, they must all be true.
Yep, totally true.
100% or 0%. Doesn't matter.
So Council's like, we'll get back to you, Obi-Wan, on what we want you to do. So Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Pax, and Rahara, the Rock Thieves, go back to the moon to check out a Churka mine just to see if maybe they're behind the Black Guards. And they just find them throwing out some Kohler crystal, which before they somehow jumped to assume that was what created the lightsaber-proof shields. They thought maybe because it looked so much like Kyber, it could do something like that.
Sure, that seems to make sense.
Yeah. So they find, they're throwing out this Kohler crystal, so they're not behind the Black Guards. Plus, there's also the Black Guards attacking the Zerka right now. So Black Guards pull in and attack the mine. So it's just Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on the planet, and Rahara kind of flies in to help out. She gets shot down, and one of the droids working for Zerka recognizes her face with some new technology. They don't use the little hand thing anymore, and she gets taken away.
Mission now.
Yeah, she's back into slavery.
Shit.
Didn't see that one coming.
So the palace guards show up to kind of help them not get murdered by the Black Guard, and they make it back to the home planet. So Qui-Gon gives Rael that little update. Hey, it's not Zerka who's the Black Guard. I don't think it's the opposition. And I'm still not signing that goddamn treaty.
He's like, I've done an investigation. I have no idea.
But fuck your treaty.
Rael's like, I'm in a bad mood. Let's spar and have a conversation. So they spar. They talk about some prophecies. Rael's just like, all right, so let's say if these prophecies are true, then what side we pick doesn't matter. We have no free will. And Qui-Gon, I'm going to quote the actual book again, says about the sides we pick. It matters. It matters which side we choose, even if there will never be more light than darkness. Even if there can be no more joy in the galaxy than there is pain. For every action we undertake, for every word we speak, for every life we touch, it matters. I don't turn toward the light because it means someday I'll win some sort of cosmic game. I turn toward it because it is the light. Qui-Gon, holier than thou, Jin.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
Honestly, it was pretty cool, but Rael's like, well, fuck me.
It's cool, but it's definitely a little holier than thou. You're not wrong there.
Yeah. Qui-Gon meets the supervisor of Churka, Supervisor Cole, and he's like, hey, can we have that slave that broke free back, please? He's like, well, I won't take money because we're a giant corporation.
But you can pod race me for it.
Yeah, like I want to spar.
Qui-Gon's like, I don't know any humans who could do it.
Oh, man. What a great lead up. And then he's like, can we take her and her mother? And he's like, I'll give you one.
I've got this chance cube.
Chance cube, which is pretty much a two colors die. He's like, chance cube. It's dice. What an asshole.
So the supervisor's like, well, I've got this treaty that needs a witness to be signed.
That's awesome.
Qui-Gon's like, fuck off. So they go back. It's the eve of the coronation. They're at this ball. Halen Azuka, the head of the opposition, shows up on this weird, I'd imagine it like a parade float. And there's this hologram that says, I surrender. So she shows up like dressed like a queen and is like, I surrender. And they're like, we finally caught this violent terrorist. She goes, nope, I found this information. The Black Guard are not on the moon. They come from Pajal, and we're going to go find some proof that they're the violent ones. Because the royal family are still like, I think it's those artists who are blowing things up.
They're like acting.
It's probably the dancers. It's probably those moon dancers.
It's probably those damn Moonies.
They're just like, we're not doing anything. We're just on the moon.
We do it. Moon art, making bombs.
So they take the head of the guard, Darren, and they go fly to they go fly to that base, and it's completely abandoned. They do find a comm link, and its last communication was to the planet Teth. So they ring it up, and who answers? The Major Domo of Thurible, or the Major Domo of the clan Thurible.
He's like, arigato.
Is that you, Mr. Roboto?
It's Mr. Domo.
Oh, no. Wow, what a twist.
What a twist.
Who would have thought it was the lemon grab the whole time?
Only it wasn't really that much of a twist. So Thurible's just like, they told me they were with the actual government of Pajal, so I did nothing wrong. And Qui-Gon's like, what were you selling them? He's like, oh no, I was the customers. They said they've got some anti-lightsaber shields. Sounded useful for me. So they're now highly suspicious of Captain Darren because he was the only one who knew they were going to investigate the thing. But I don't know, they don't really act on it because there's not much proof besides that.
And he has a regular name, so like can't be that guy.
Yeah. He's too plain.
Yeah.
Not Darth anything.
Yeah, Darth
Darren.
Nobody wants to know Darth Darren.
So they get back, and Qui-Gon finds out the ceremony's still going through. And he's like, well, your treaty's going to fucking be invalid. And Obi-Wan's like, about that. So the council contacted me, and they're authorizing me to witness the treaty.
And then he goes, about that, and the girl comes up from behind him as a slave, like, thanks for freeing me, guys! And Judd Apatow's like, yes, this is the one.
Now this is pod racing.
Now that's comedy.
So yeah, Qui-Gon's fucking mad at him. He's like, oh, sweet, slave owner Obi-Wan over here. He's like, no, it's not that. It's just you're crazy. And so he's like, fine. I hear your point of view.
I am crazy. Got me there.
He's like, and it'll be fine. I'll have my lightsaber. If Darren is the bad guy, I'll protect Fanry. It'll be cool. And Qui-Gon eventually gets all nostalgic, and he's like, you know what? I think I know why they paired you with me. See, Obi-Wan was always rebellious throughout Jedi Academy before he got his master. He's breaking rules and stuff. And Yoda assigned him to Qui-Gon, who always went against the council, because Obi-Wan would rebel and always follow the council's wishes.
Genius.
Yeah.
More negative. So much math.
So Qui-Gon, who Yoda hates, is just like, never underestimate that Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda's like, this dude doesn't listen to anything his master says. He's like, well, Qui-Gon doesn't listen to anything I say. What if we put them together? We'll try to outdo each other and just do the stuff I want. And they're like, do it.
All right, so day of the ceremony's finally here. Fanry's going to be crowned, sign the treaty for Zerka. So they're up at the little, whatever chalice, the sky chalice, celestial chalice. And there's this person there reading the rites, giving the crown, called the Skykeeper. And they're like, all right, now you're queen. And Fanry stabs him.
Smart.
The princess.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Didn't see that one.
I did. Kill that guy.
Yep.
Piece of shit.
They just never come true in Star Wars.
Like a metal detector at the door. They weren't patting people down before they came in.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Not the princess, I guess.
Yeah.
Or her guard. And
Yeah.
she tells Darren to shoot anyone pro-treaty or pro-Zerka. Darren activates an anti-lightsaber shield because he was the Black Guard people. And
Damn it, Darren.
Darth Darren strikes again.
Obi-Wan goes to attack him, and his lightsaber's orange for some reason, and he goes right through the lightsaber shield and bashes Darren to the ground. He doesn't kill him. Apparently, they sabotaged Obi-Wan's lightsaber when he showed Fanry how to take it apart. She's like, I'll put this useless Kohler crystal in there. But because it's anti-lightsaber against anti-lightsaber, it...
More double negatives.
What the fuck? My brain's hurting now.
Yeah, that math is coming full circle.
Yeah. So you got to pay attention when you read these books, guys.
Yeah. Got to take some notes.
Yeah, it would have been like, and then his orange lightsaber hit Darren in the face, and you're like, what?
So somehow Fanry and Darren get to some kind of ceremonial escape ship, and they're on the run. We've got the Zerka ship with all the slaves chasing them. We've got the ship that Pax is driving because Rahara's not there anymore. And basically their plan is, oh, hey, we could arrest Fanry now because she tried to kill a representative of the Republic, Obi-Wan. So they use their thief ship to sneak onto the Zerka ship and rescue Rahara. And they're holding Fanry's ship in a tractor beam. This is an action scene. It's kind of hard to get back to you. So they're holding the ship still in a tractor beam, but it could still rotate. And Fanry's like, well, I'm going to blow up the Churka's ship because fuck them. They're the bad guys.
Those Churkas.
And then her servant, who played a very minor role up until now, was just like, hey, I'm kind of a slave. Don't shoot them, and holds a gun to her head. And
Kind of a slave.
and stops them.
What is that?
She does get paid pretty well. She's only kind of a slave.
I was gonna say, can you be kind of a slave? I mean, I guess.
Fifth Law is kind of a slave.
It's unclear. She's mentioned as a servant. I don't remember if she actually had the chip in her hand, to be honest. But she's like, hey, this is wrong. Don't kill all those slaves.
That's why I'm royal and you are servile.
But I guess if she has to say at all, she is kind of a slave because a normal slave wouldn't have any say.
Yeah. So they catch Fanry. Fanry's in jail. One of her council people's put in charge, and they refuse to sign the treaty. Rael is like, I don't know if I'll return to Coruscant or not. I might just leave the order, just like Dooku. And then Qui-Gon's like, I'm not going to accept the position on the council. I'm going to keep training you, Obi-Wan.
And Judd Apatow's like a perfect ending to a perfect.
So yeah, that is it, boys. Master and Apprentice. How did I do? Did it sound good? Because it was actually really good. It sounds like a good book.
It's my favorite so far.
Yeah, it opens up way more questions about rock thieving. I'm interested to dive into this further.
We should add a whole new prequel trilogy all about stealing rocks, I think.
Rock economy.
Like, this was about a like trade blockade and kind of trade negotiations, the prequels, and then we'll talk about kind of the crime side of it.
So is this your favorite book that you've read so far of the 4 that you've done?
I think we've done 3. We did the short story about Strono Tugs.
You're right.
We did Count Dooku. We did this. Yeah.
Yeah, and last week was.
Oh yeah, we've only done 3, Brian. Wink, wink.
So yeah, I definitely my favorite. I was thinking once we watch Phantom Menace, we'll pick that as a block, and I'll do like superlatives. We'll drink a lot of Qui-Gon gin, and I'll be like, best bad guy was Strono Tugs.
I think Darth Darren might be up on that list for me.
I like Darth Darren.
Darth Darren,
yeah.
Cool, man.
Oh,
Darth
shit.
Darren right up there.
But yeah, this book was solid. I like Qui-Gon a lot. I did him no justice because...
Yeah, what were the highlights for you, do you feel like?
I definitely think his quote I gave, where he's like, oh, dude, I fucking choose the light because that's the right thing. Did, Daryl, you watched Mandalorian, right? You're the only one?
Yeah.
Have you watched any of like the Disney Gallery, I think they're calling it? It's like behind the scenes of the making of The Mandalorian.
No, I have not.
One of the guys who did an episode made the Clone Wars, and he like talks about Phantom Menace in like a good light, like my dad. And he talks about the Duel of the Fates, which is the battle with Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And it's the name of that song. It's like, and he's like, well, it's called the Duel of the Fates because Qui-Gon is fighting for the fate of Anakin. You know, Qui-Gon's going to be the father Anakin never had, teach him that it's okay to be compassionate and still be a good Jedi. But if the Sith Lord wins, he's going to go on down this path, which now makes a lot more sense knowing how crazy Qui-Gon actually was about these prophecies. So I think reading this is actually slowly making the prequels better for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel the same or just laughing at dumb Star Wars books, but...
So do you think George Lucas, his real problem is that he's so deeply invested in the canon that he makes movies that general audiences can't appreciate?
Well, this book came out a year ago, April 2019.
All right.
So what
That's what I thought.
He doesn't have that
George
excuse.
Lucas saw a prophecy of this book and was like, I believe in prophecies just like Qui-Gon.
He's like, now I believe in prophecy. Yes. I have to make this movie called The Phantom Menace, which kills a really cool Jedi named Qui-Gon Jinn and a really cool Sith Lord named Darth Maul.
He calls up Spielberg. He's like, I had a vision. I have to re-release all of my original movies with updated images.
But yeah, solid book. It's like 500 pages. It's available on Audible if you guys want to read it.
It's like 450
Or listen to it.
What would you give it out of 10? Is that a reasonable scale, or is that like a?
I'd go 8.5. I enjoyed
8.5. Wow, that's like
That's
great.
high. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a B.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a B plus.
Maybe
No, I mean, on a
school you
10-point
went to.
rating scale, I'd say that's a B plus.
Yeah, I get to the point in some of these books where I'm like, all right, I kind of see where the story is going, but I've got like 60% of the book left. So what else is going to happen? And I'm like, I feel like I'm just speed reading to wait for the next thing to actually happen. But this kind of kept me going for most of it.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some of it, like at certain points during this, it'll be a slog.
Yeah.
Not like,
We've got a lot of comic books up ahead, so I'm going to have less work to do during the week.
Is it like a noticeable like increase in the quality of writing, or is it just like, are you just more engaged with like the storylines that are happening, or
in this book particular? So this one's like the first real novel, I'd say. So first, Strono Tugs was a short story.
like a novella, basically?
That seems like someone was forced to write a short story at gunpoint.
I get it. They're forced. That's a good joke, Brian.
Yep. Dooku Jedi Lost. I read the script of an like dialogue performance. Like it was meant to be just an audiobook, but I didn't think I'd be able to take notes. I'd rather have a book in my hand for that.
We should do a performance of it ourselves. Like we should all get together and put on a show for one of the podcasts.
If this episode hits, how many likes do we need this episode to hit to do
5.
that performance? 5?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 5.
Yeah. I'll be Brian for that episode.
I don't know about 5.
5
a lot.
million.
No. If we hit 100 likes, we will read the Dooku Jedi Lost script. Who wants to
So
play
never-
Dooku? I think Daryl would make a good Dooku.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Count Daryl's pretty close to Count Dooku and Count Daryl.
Yeah, holy shit. Count Darren's even worse. Yeah, no, I mean, we got to hit those 5 likes first. So
This is an obvious Sifo Dyas.
thanks, guys. I think obvious. Based on what?
Obvious.
Yeah.
Your visions.
Yeah, that's true. I do have a lot of visions of stuff.
Yeah.
Remember the poker game?
To the Force in our own ways, Wes.
I do. I remember everything. I know everything. I see everything.
All right. So a little housekeeping. Next week, I'm going to read Age of the Republic, Qui-Gon Jinn, a comic book about Qui-Gon.
Hey.
And then that's probably the last Qui-Gon focused thing.
Okay.
Until
Ever?
I write my novel. my series of erotic novels about Qui-Gon Jinn. And a bachelorette party on Kashyyyk.
Oh man,
man.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
That's
So
a
yeah,
horrifying image.
have you guys ever read any comics?
Like comic books?
Or
Yeah, for
newspaper
sure.
comics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen Garfield on the newspaper once.
I saw Garfield on the television one night, and I was like,
Yeah.
that guy loves lasagna,
Yeah.
Marmaduke.
It was like 3 a.m.
but he hates
Just
on the other days.
Daryl comics?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I read a graphic novel about the Incredible Hulk once. Must have been like 15 years ago. I went to Universal, and they had like a Marvel section.
Yeah, that's cool.
I got an Incredible Hulk comic.
I've read the Watchmen like graphic
Oh,
novel. I read. I have like a 500-page thing of like the first 100 or so Amazing Spider-Mans. It's like a big thick thing, and it's all like
Nice.
it's close to like original prints. I read it over like a couple months when I was like 12 or 13. It was awesome.
Yeah, so because we're doing this in order, I'm reading one of the comics in Age of the Republic, which is Qui-Gon Jinn. But it's a collection. They've got an Obi-Wan, an Anakin, a Padme, a Darth Maul, a Jango Fett, a Count Dooku, and a General Grievous.
Oh, that's terrible.
If you just want the Qui-Gon, it's $2 on Amazon, and you can get a PDF version of it, or a Kindle version. If anyone wants to join me, it's 25 pages. So yeah, that's what we're doing next week. If you were the one audience member I had on Twitch earlier today, thank you. I was playing The Last of Us. Yeah, we had one person watching me play The Last of Us.
Poorly.
Yep. He's going to become a recurring Twitcher.
Was it you,
Yeah, I can't watch myself, unfortunately.
Carol?
You have a mirror?
Yeah.
I usually like to watch myself.
I was watching Brian on a different stream, but not a Twitch stream.
Yeah. So I was really hoping all audio issues would be solved this week. Maybe next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
Last thing, I was going to check in on our YouTube stuff. So right before we started, we have 7 total subscribers to the channel.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'd assume 4 of us are in this.
Yeah.
One is my brother, so we've got 2 real subscribers, boys.
Oh, perfect. Well, you made Marty subscribe, right?
Whoa, I made Marty subscribe to Spotify, but we'll
To
get
the
there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So episode 3, last week's episode, had only 11 views. Episode 2, 38. And episode 1, 47 views.
Fuck.
We are
Wow.
2 views across all our videos away from 100 views.
Damn, and only 80 of those are us.
I just leave it on repeat on my laptop all night, but
I fall asleep to it
I'm
at
going to
night.
buy a second cell phone so I can watch it twice at the same
Yeah,
time.
you can play it the whole day on
your
a
phone's running it all
Honestly,
hours.
We could have Tutor write a program to just keep watching our videos over and over
That'd
and
be
just spam
hilarious.
that up.
Do we just throw Tutor's name out there for anything we need?
Yeah, honestly, Tutor's gonna
maybe
make
one of them is
It's
Tutor's
Jack
gonna
Wall.
make us some intro music. So
Yeah.
the plan is I'm gonna read my intro and I'm gonna play the music, and then you guys can make your jokes about whatever name I give Wes over the music.
Yeah, I got a preview of it, and there's some good music there.
Yeah. Tutor's a talented beat maker.
He can do almost anything.
Can you change my brakes? my brakes need to be changed.
But when my dad is on for Phantom Menace, he's a helicopter mechanic, and what's a car but a helicopter on the ground?
A helicopter with wheels.
Yep.
So I forgot to upload episode 6 to our RSS feed for podcasts, but we have 6 total downloads of all our episodes on Spotify.
What's an RSS?
It's basically just a feed. I only see it used for podcasts. Aaron, do you have a comment on what an RSS is?
Probably not an accurate one, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, it's just a place where you post media that can be basically instantly embedded to other platforms.
Mhm.
So once Spotify has this link, anytime I post to the RSS feed, it's automatically on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Addict. So I have to post to one place, and it posts to many places.
Yeah,
Wow.
Stitcher Premium.
We're still in the
Ball.
podcast, by the way. I doubt anyone's still listening, but if you are,
Speaking
speaking of our biggest
a lot
fan,
about RSS feeds, so you're welcome.
Speaking of our biggest fan, Lieutenant Bastian, he actually, I got a notification when I logged into the Cannonballs YouTube today that he commented on our Dooku episode and said, quote, "I love this series." Now, he has since deleted that comment.
Maybe he listened to the third one. It was like,
maybe he listened to episode 3.
My mind.
But Lieutenant Bastian, if you're back, we'd love for you to leave your comments because they're so nice and thoughtful. You're our biggest fan, Lieutenant Bastian.
You always have.
Here's this episode's for you, bud.
He's embarrassed to be our fan. That's why he's not leaving the comments. He wants us to know that when we pop, he was our first guy.
Now, I'm going to do a really slow build-up, Aaron, because I forgot to give anyone notice that someone may have to sign off the podcast. I need you to shake your head vigorously no if I should lead into. And as always, as we sign off the Cannonball podcast, Aaron.
I'm upset that we didn't talk about my birthday this week.